Hey, awesome ones. Welcome to today's Bliss Talk. I am Krista Hammerbacher Hoppala. I am the creatrix of the Bliss Mystic Collective and the Rebel Queen Circle. I am a consciousness design guide, and I am here to invite us all onto the path of consciousness design, an approach that I have developed and used with clients for 20 years now, over 2 decades. And it is a lived experience for me as well. It's the path that I travel, and the invitation is here for you. And one of the ways that I enjoy sharing the path of consciousness design and this wisdom here for the spiritually adventurous is to do these bliss talks. I come here on my professional page and also my YouTube channel and share with you perspectives from sessions and from my forthcoming book, The Bliss Manifesto and the Bliss Meditations. And I am here to invite you to recognize that bliss, pleasure, and joy are fuel. Our yes energy has powerful value for us to move in the world in such a way that is unique to us and also allow for bliss, pleasure, and joy to have the value for us in engaging the feedback loop. That's a big part of consciousness design is the recognition that we are always here in experiment, and we are always here to notice the feedback loop, to experiment, to notice, to refine, and that is the consciousness design path. And the idea of bliss, pleasure, and joy, our yes energy, directing us in a particular way is not accidental. It's not trivial, although the way that we perceive often in our culture the concepts of bliss, joy, and pleasure is that it is trivial, that it is unvaluable. It's that we have to earn it through work. And in fact, you inherently, by nature of your primal essence, bliss is your birthright. Bliss and joy and pleasure help us feel energized, help us feel creative. They are fuel for not only your evolution, but for the revolution. And so my invitation to you today is when we're together for this bliss talk, that you really think, feel, know, sense into how these practices, strategies, the arts of consciousness design can apply to your life, because consciousness design is, can be esoteric, but really is here for application. We're here for the experimentation of it, having our fingers in the dirt of our life. And I'll share with you, probably use a lot of gardening analogies, because here I'm here on the coast, the east coast of the United States, in Maine in February, which is our winter, and my energy is turned very much toward planting my garden, smelling the warming earth, and the symbolism there can't be denied. We are here planting seeds for you as well in your consciousness design and on your consciousness design path. So, bring this into our theme for today, the idea of the art of sacred living flowing with your yes. I would love to share with you some very practical strategies today for recognizing that the living that we're doing is truly sacred. And whatever that word means for you, it's perfect. For some of us, we are in a very, very spiritual adventure. And for some of us, we are in a very cognitive energy and a very practical energy. All is welcome here. And my invitation to you is that you make consciousness design and the consciousness design path yours. And one way that you can do that is to recognize where you are when it comes to gleaning wisdom from what I describe as the four dimensions of the human experience, the foundational organization of consciousness design. We live in a culture that very much privileges the cognitive, our brain, our mind, very linear, logical, prove it to me energy. And many of us are very successful in that. And my invitation to you is to recognize that and to we're not throwing that out. We're not saying that doesn't have value. What we are saying though is it can be balanced by the three other dimensions of the human experience and the wisdom that can be gleaned from those dimensions of the human experience. And those include our emotion, our heart-centered experience, our bodily experience, our somatic experience and wisdom, and also the mystery, the numinous, our energy. Some of that is mysterious, and some of that is very, very, very established in science, particularly in quantum physics these days. And what I always offer folks when we start to get into the entwinement of energetic or spiritual, again, both are different but also similar and have entwinements. And we think about the science, the logical, linear, mind based science, is all of that is there for exploration, for pushing our edge, find our edge. And when we are finding our edge, we are very much expanding our consciousness. And that in our human experience can feel very unsettling because we're in uncharted waters. We're beyond the fences. We've pushed our edge. So invite yourself there on a regular basis. Find your edge, live your bliss. That is fundamental to consciousness design. So notice where you live, where you're most comfortable in those four dimensions of the human experience, whether it's cognitive, emotional, physical, or energetic, and recognize that there's opportunity where you're less developed in gleaning wisdom. And that includes our intuitive and our primal wisdom, our primal awareness, primal meaning first and also undomesticated. So in consciousness design, we're always excavating. We're unlearning what doesn't serve us in the sense that we are then obfuscating these other dimensions of the human experience and the wisdom that comes from being open to that. And you are always sovereign. Another concept in consciousness design. We've got the four dimensions of the human experience, and you are always sovereign. And you are sovereign, meaning you own your power and you have primal, innate power. Bliss is your birthright. And you get to do it the way you want to do it. And with that being said, when it comes from when we consider even energetic exchange, we want to flow into the world and be in a space of loving regard and of creativity in the sense of we are creating from a place of pleasure, bliss, and joy, and as best we can. And that is not going to be a permanent state. We are always in flux, as is the nature of consciousness. And our intention today, the art of sacred living, flowing with your yes, is to recognize that even when we honor our yes energy, it doesn't mean we're always going to feel awesome. It doesn't mean we're always going to feel efficacious. It means that we learn to flow with those times. And we're going to talk about those practical strategies. And the invitation here is to recognize that we are gleaning wisdom from those four dimensions of the human experience. We are also sovereign in our choices, meaning we also can invoke the sovereignty paradox, meaning if I'm truly sovereign, I can make mistakes over and over again or misalignments over and over again. We perceive them as mistakes, but truly it's an experiment that just didn't play out. And so my invitation to you is no guilt, shame, or self-judgment. We don't engage those energetic black holes. We bring ourselves back into alignment by trying something else that is more aligned. And so my invitation to you is to play with this concept of consciousness design, and really move beyond the black and white, beyond the right and wrong, and into experimentation, into raising your vibration through gleaning wisdom from all four of the dimensions of the human experience, and recognize the awe, the bliss, the joy, the pleasure that is available to you. And know that when we experience suffering or resistance, that is simply contraction. We also know, as part of consciousness design and the human physics of that, that we expand and we contract. We expand, we push our edge, and then we contract to integrate, to organize. This is the nature of the multiverse, the infinite equation with infinite variation, infinite variates here. We are part of that, and there will be expansion and contraction. And contraction is an organizing state. And so, another invitation of consciousness design is not that we are going to be in a straight path to a right choice. We are here in creativity, in experimentation, in dancing in the moment, in seeking inspiration, in transmuting resistance. So that's what we're going to talk about in terms of some of these specific strategies today in this Bliss Talk. This idea that if we do acknowledge that we are here, that there is awe in this conscious experience, that our life can be art, it can be sanctuary, it can be here as an experience, not something that brings us to learning or that we're completing a checklist, but we're here to have a fantastic time and to expand and contract throughout this whole process. And that includes lots of variation in experience, some of which we may judge as feeling not good or being traumatic or being beyond what we would have wished for. And the invitation here in consciousness design is to notice, to recognize that experience has pushed our edge, and now it's time to integrate and transmute in a way that allows for creativity and feeling of abundance. Rather than scarcity or fear, we are transmuting in generosity towards self, in love, as within, so without. The more we flow inward, the more we can flow outward in this sacred living. And when we experience resistance, we have the opportunity to transmute. When we are in this space of our yes energy, and we think of the art of sacred living, and we do tune into our yes energy, what feels aligned for us, what feels exciting for us, what invites creativity, what helps us feel expansive. You might notice this in contrast. For some of us, we have the experience in this culture of work being work. We work in order to earn financial energy in order to then live our pleasure, bliss, and joy. And that is a practicality. And we also have the opportunity to notice that we may not have that contrast, that we've chosen to align our professional experience with the gifts that we bring to the world. And that varies from person to person, what feels good or is right, and how we perceive that or would judge that, and how it would feel if that didn't align for you. Every infinite face of the same consciousness is unique. So there are folks out in the world that give their gifts to the world in a way that wouldn't feel aligned for us. And what beauty in diversity. And so the invitation is to not judge any of those alignments as right or wrong or good or bad, but do they allow you to flow? And if you are able to flow with your yes energy, there are people in the world giving gifts to the world in such a way that it wouldn't be my choice, but I love that it's their choice. I love that they are opting in for that, and that is their yes energy. And the invitation there is to align with your yes energy in such a way, whether it's professional or in your relationships or in your choices in terms of how you're moving your body, the foods you choose. I mean, it is holistic in that way. So the invitation in consciousness design is to look at all facets of your existence and notice that you can align and flow, or you can experience resistance. And resistance doesn't mean it is wrong or bad. Resistance is an opportunity for transmuting that energy into a different alignment. So, from a practical perspective, when we are flowing with our yes energy, it doesn't mean that resistance goes away. What it means is we interpret resistance as an opportunity to find a way to flow. My invitation to you there is to notice right now, just right now, notice in your life where you are encountering resistance, discomfort, dissonance, feeling called to a different path or a different choice. Just take a moment and notice that. And now I invite you to notice any judgments you have about that you made a wrong choice, you made a mistake, shoulda, woulda, coulda. All of that energy of noticing resistance and meeting resistance with judgment is energy that could be focused on the next choice. So we don't go into right or wrong, guilt or shame or self-judgment. We go into the opportunity of resistance. Oh, this isn't aligned. Now I can feel it. Now I know it in my heart, in my body, in my energy, my mind, all four of the dimensions of the human experience. I'm experiencing resistance. And instead of getting stuck in it, instead of being in a place of right or wrong, good or bad, shoulda, woulda, coulda, I feel guilty, I feel resentful, I feel frustrated. You can feel all those things. We are not here to bypass the emotion. But what we are here to do in consciousness design is recognize that resistance is an opportunity for transmutation. I can move into greater alignment because now I know I'm misaligned. And I am here to tell you that that takes fortitude, that takes awareness that you have choice, that you bring power into self in a centered way, that you own your power. And even if you just choose one thing, one choice, to move that energy, to make a micro choice in the moment, to move toward your bliss, pleasure, and joy, to come into greater alignment, those micro choices begin to add up. And when we're talking about sacred living, every choice is sacred. Now, it doesn't mean every choice is precious. We have the sovereignty paradox. We can make all kinds of unconscious, unintentional choices. But then we notice we're willy-nilly, we're all over the place, we're not feeling aligned because we're not tuning into that resistance, we're not deciding to transmute that energy into a different choice. Every choice you make shapes the world, every choice. And if we allow a lot of those choices to flow by in a way that is unconscious or is subconsciously being shaped by fear rather than love or creativity, or if we feel disempowered, if we're in a victim state or a martyr state, which is a low vibration of energy, there's no judgment there. I'm not saying those are wrong or bad. We can be there. I'm there sometimes, all the time. So I have lots of opportunity to transmute my resistance. And what I offer is you can do that too. You can do that too by saying to self, hey, look at that. Feeling some resistance. I'm not going to sit in my pool of pity. I'm not going to be in a space of stagnation. I'm going to make one choice this time to see what I can cultivate as a different alignment. I'm going to be the experiment. And my invitation to you there is this will take practice. This will take practice. What I just shared with you is very nuanced consciousness design, and it is different from what you may have experienced in self help or in formulaic ways that you can move energy of resistance. We're usually battling it or conquering it. I'm asking you to merge with it, to join with it, to ask the resistance, what do you got for me? What's the wisdom there? Is it coming through my heart? Is it coming through my body? Am I making a mind choice? I see a linear path that's different. Am I getting wisdom from some place that I can't even put my finger on? My primal awareness, my intuition, if I have excavated to the point that I can bring myself into a centered space to align, if I can question myself with curiosity without judgment, and I can say, oh, yeah, I do have a choice, including a choice that I may be unwilling to accept. Like, you know what? I'm just going to quit my job and not go into work today. And then all of a sudden, that doesn't, a constriction, huge constriction. Okay, so that may be what I feel is aligned, is a professional change. But my choice today is going to be to see what is aligned about my job, what does bring me joy, and also notice what other jobs or ways I'm going to share my gifts in the world could bring me more joy. And so this is not love and light. It's all awesome. This is recognizing that that resistance is there for you to transmute it. It is a gift. Does it feel good? Often, no, because that's the alarm bell telling us make a different choice. And what are your choices? Again, only you are an expert in your life. In consciousness design, you are unique to your refinements. The way I do it is not the way you're going to do it, is not the way anyone else is going to do it. And that is the beauty of the design aspect of consciousness. This is not formulaic. This is not 10 steps. This is not for 1995, I'll fix your life. This is a path for the spiritually adventurous. This is a path for those who are ready to experiment. This is a path for people who love the expansion and the exhilaration of experimenting and trying something new and pushing your edge, and then recognizing, oh, yep, I'm going to need time to integrate and organize all this new wisdom that's coming through my head, my heart, my body, and the energy in my intuition. And it's all an opportunity. It's all an opportunity to recognize that our bliss, our pleasure, and our joy are not trivial. They're not accidental. They are the path. They are the path. So your yes energy is sacred. That is sacred living. That is flowing with your yes to recognize that resistance is a gift and that you can make one choice every time you feel that resistance. And when you notice that feedback loop, wow, I moved some energy. Wasn't a lot of energy, maybe, or maybe it was massive energy, but you are taking that energy. The energetic black hole always seems to be over here, and my clients know that. This is where I gesture. We're actually recovering that energy. Instead of spinning in the energetic black hole of guilt, shame, self-judgment, judgment, right and wrong, good or bad, it just doesn't feel aligned. What feels more aligned? Make that one micro choice, just that one time. Notice the feedback loop. Do you feel a little more energized? Did you turn your essence a little bit toward valuing your bliss, your joy, and your pleasure? Awesome. You are on the consciousness design path. My invitation to you there is to play with all of this, to play with all of this, to notice that wisdom can come from not just your mind, but from your heart, your body, and your energy, that your intuition and your primal awareness, your undomesticated knowing is still there. And the more that you tap in, the more you dance in the moment, the more you value your bliss, your joy, and your pleasure as wisdom in and of itself, your unique gift to the world, your unique vantage, your unique direction, your unique um, energy. When you do that, you'll notice that feedback loop. You'll notice it. And I have clients share with me over and over again that it feels too easeful. All of a sudden, we do get used to the resistance. So when we are in the art of sacred living and consciousness design and flowing with our yes, it can all of a sudden start to feel like, yeah, transmuting this resistance, viewing or noticing this resistance as an opportunity for choice rather than a constriction into victim or disempowerment. If I say, oh, yeah, I'm going to make one choice today that aligns me more with my bliss, pleasure, and joy, those micro choices begin to add up. Not only do they add up, we get better at it. So I invite you to practice, 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 practice in the moment. What would I rather choose right in this moment? Would I rather choose, and I always use this example, do I want my tea with honey or without honey? Do I want to really focus my energy today at work on the parts of the job that I really love to flow with? Can I choose today to see my friend or my partner in their best light? And when the resistance shows up again, what is the micro choice I can make? We're not bypassing. This is not, I'm not here to say we're here to endure. In fact, we're doing the exact opposite of that. We are not bypassing, we're feeling it fully, and then we're making the most aligned choice to bring in more flow. And as that flow grows, it starts to feel more and more easeful. And that ultimately is culturally what we are what we've been domesticated out of, to honor our bliss, joy, and pleasure. It's the opposite of selfish. We flow into self, but now we feel more energized and have more fuel to flow outward. So consciousness design is also a gift to the collective. So before I get too far into that, that will be another bliss talk. My invitation to you is to notice that sacred living is an art, to notice that the path of consciousness design pulls upon the four dimensions of the human experience and the wisdom, and where it may be undefined or undeveloped in you. And that is an opportunity. And also that you are sovereign. You have choice. Even if it's a choice that may feel like you don't want to make it or it's untenable, it's still a choice. Every choice you make shapes the world. And then as we engage that feedback loop, we notice that we get more refined in our consciousness design. Choices become more easeful, more clear and direct, because we are honed into what our pleasure, bliss, and joy feel like. We give ourselves permission. It is a countercultural choice to say yes to your yes. And my invitation to you is to join the countercultural path of consciousness design, to flow with your yes, to recognize that resistance is a gift, that you always have a choice, and every choice you make shapes the world, even if it's starting with some deep resistance and sometimes uncomfortable choices. But keep after it, keep practicing, keep noticing that your pleasure, bliss, and joy have value. Keep noticing that your feedback loop is informing you and bringing you into more alignment, so then you can choose to flow with your yes with more ease. And life is a practice. All of this is a practice. And my invitation to you is to recognize that your bliss, pleasure, and joy are fuel, not just for your evolution, but for the revolution. And bringing more fuel and engaging that feedback loop, growing and expanding your energy is not only for you as an infinite face of this consciousness, but it is a gift to the collective as well, because you become the living, breathing example that bliss, pleasure, and joy are here to be the path. And my invitation to you is to play with it, be the experiment, find your edge. I'm here in connection. I love every moment of doing this, and even in my resistance, I see that opportunity to transmute. I live this experience as well. I live the path of consciousness design. It is not a path, it is a path of perfection, meaning alignment. It is not a path of perfection, meaning flawlessness. So allow yourself the latitude to practice and to find your way, see it and feel it and know it as refinement, and you will do it your way, uniquely. You are an expert in your life, and consciousness design can be your path as well. you can reach out to me. I am here, Krista at theblissmystic.com. I love a great email. You can DM me. I am on Instagram at the Bliss Mystic or Krista.writes. I love connections there. You can also reach out to me here on the professional page. You can also find me at theblissmystic.com. I'm on Medium and I have meditations for you on Insight Timer as well. And the Bliss Mystic Collective is here for you. So thank you for your attention and intention today. I am so grateful to have shared this Bliss Talk with you. It's always a pleasure. It's always a joy. And biggest love to you all and rock on.